What if Zoom showed up in season 1 of The Flash? Now, to be clear, in this position, Zoom would still be the main villain in season 2 of The Flash, but just the idea that Zoom would pop up in season 1, maybe fight Barry or introduce himself to Barry in season 1, that's what I want to talk about in this video. I think it would have been very cool to see that play out, because Thawne was still involved, and we never saw Thawne and Zoom interact with each other till season 9, episode 13, the series finale. It would have been really cool to see like Zoom running around, maybe while Thawne's running around as Reverse Flash and gets caught and they have to fight each other, or, you know, Barry's at a crime scene or something and Zoom just shows up where Barry's the Flash and they fight each other, but Barry's so slow he can't, and then maybe Thawne comes in or something like that. Like, it would have been a really cool sequence. Obviously, they didn't know season 1 they're going to do Zoom. I don't even think they knew they're going to get another season. I mean, they, you know, not season 1 was bad. It was great. But you never know with TV shows. Even then, you didn't really know. Especially now, you don't really know with TV shows what happened. But it was always interesting to me that we were always in a position where if the writers had thought like 6 seasons ahead, you know, like season 1 to 6, how different would the stories be? And I said that's tricky for a superhero show because everything changes. What you do in one season alters the next. And if you don't time it right, it's not going to work. And after season 3, all the way to 7, that got lost. And season 9, that got lost. Season 1, 2, and 8, and the back half of 6. Or no, the first half of 6, sorry, before Crisis, are really the only times in the show where you didn't see that writing that was affected in past seasons. Like, it didn't affect the show during those times, for the most part. For the most part, it didn't. Season 3 through 7 and 9 had so many loopholes, it was ridiculous. But 1, 2, and 8, and the first half of 6 were really just, you know, no loopholes, for the most part, like I said. But Zoom for showing up in season 1, like I brought up with Thawne, would have been cool. But I think it would have made it a much more scarier story in season 2. And like, I get it that, you know, before Crisis happened, Zoom came through a portal because he's on our Earth. On this Earth, Earth Prime, do we really know if he's from our Earth? I mean, we don't know that. I mean, we never clarified that. To my knowledge, we didn't. And it seemed like Barry could throw lightning in season 1, post-Crisis. We saw that in the Piper episode in season 6, post-Crisis. And I remember because I think it was the beginning of COVID when that episode aired. It feels like a lifetime ago now. But the point is that it's very interesting to think about what happened post-Crisis. Knowing what we know, could we have seen Zoom in season 1? Yes. Considering Barry could throw lightning then. Last time I checked, Thawne didn't teach Barry to throw lightning. Zoom did. As Jay. But why would Thawne let Zoom be around if that was in fact Jay? Unless it was RJ, like, you know. But wouldn't RJ know Thawne? Whatever. It's a whole thing. But the point is that if Zoom was from season 1, I think it would have made a great story season 2 to build off of. Just being the fact that this is no longer like a one-season villain. Like he was built into the show the season prior. And villains that do that, I think, tend to carry more weight than having to drag out a story like they did for most ones in the show, The Flash, and most superhero shows too. Whereas if they brought him in season 1, going to season 2, Zoom could have just been like a villain we met. We didn't know him yet. Obviously, we didn't know him by name if he had from season 1, most likely. Or they could just name drop him and just cut that off and then brought him back season 2. That would have been cool. Like season 3, they mentioned DeVoe, and, you know, everyone kind of got really excited. Like, oh, we're seeing DeVoe again season 4. Or, you know, we're going to see him for the first time in season 4. And it just kind of added more to the threat level until we learned DeVoe was an idiot and he could have been something in one episode. But the point is, leading up to DeVoe, he was really kind of exciting at the time. At least for me, he was. Watching the show live and having to wait a couple months for season 4. Being really excited to see DeVoe, because for the first time it's not a speedster villain. It would have been nice to... Also, Godspeed, too. A speedster villain. I mean, we were teased about season 5. He showed up in season 6, 601, then 618, the Pied Piper episode, and then season 7, he was a full-on villain. Granted, that story in season 7, the back half, didn't really work, I think the way they wanted it to, but it still happened. And I know when Godspeed showed up in 715, I felt like he's a threatening villain. I didn't feel like he was like DeVoe, where he's weak, or Cicada, or Bloodwork. Well, not Bloodwork wasn't that weak, but he was only started for like 1 episode, and that was it. Well, 2, I guess, in counting 909. But for Godspeed, it was 715, 716. He was a really strong, threatening villain. That was because he's been around before. And I'm not saying Zoom wasn't threatening, because he was. But he was also a scary villain. And I think in the sense that if he had shown up in season 1 and like threatened a bunch of people, like Barry or me, when Thawne fought Thawne and won that fight, it would have lightened the interest into Zoom just being a whole lot of a much more frightening speedster that you know that he can stop Thawne, you know his power level. And look, we know he's faster than season 1 Thawne. He's not faster than season 8 Thawne, or maybe season 3 through 7 Thawne, but the point is that he's faster than season 1 Thawne. That could have been a very cool story to go into season 2. Granted, Zoom's one of the best ones in the show. That's not going to change for me anytime soon. Right after Thawne, for me. But I'm just saying, for story reasons, it would have been, looking back at the show, it would have been really cool if we saw that kind of just play out in a way that I don't think anyone would have expected it to play out. And it really would have set up a lot more hype than it already was for season 2. Following the season 1 finale with the wormhole in the sky. It would have added so much more tension on Zoom and on Barry and Team Flash. It would have been a very interesting, dynamic, very cool story to go down. And the matter of fact is that when you look at it as a whole, the general villains who started off frightening had build-up. And for the most part, that's for all shows, superhero shows. Now, I'm not saying villains who didn't have that weren't friendly. Like I said, Zoom, Thawne were both still threatening and frightening. Prometheus, Deathstroke were both frightening. Although we had Slade being built up before he was a villain in season 2. We saw him go through his whole villain arc, kind of season 1 of Arrow and season 2 of Arrow, leading up to him being Deathstroke in present day. Or I guess in the past, leading to present day. But the point is that it adds more to the villains. And I think Zoom really missed out on the opportunity. Granted, I didn't think of it till now. I mean, this is like 10 years later? I mean, so it wouldn't have mattered anyways, but I think for a future superhero show, if there ever happens to be a Flash superhero show again, which honestly, there probably should be, whatever that may be, or any superhero show in general, I think should be pouring into a future villain showing up in a season prior and making him threatening or her threatening, and then putting that villain in the next season following, because it just adds more to it. Instead of having a whole season where a villain's being dragged out and explored more, you have that covered. You don't need to worry about an origin story. We got that covered. You don't need to worry about, how threatening he is to the main characters, or the main plot even for the cast or the team or the superhero involved. Whereas Flash or Superman or Batman and Green Lantern or Green Arrow or Flash, it doesn't matter. We know they're threatening. That's what matters. And if they keep that writing up, it'll work. Season 1 and 2 got very lucky. I think season 3 got a little bit, here and there with Savitar, but then DeVoe's mentioned when that hype went up. And then it went down when we learned who DeVoe was. Like I brought up with Godspeed earlier. Pretty much same thing for at least after 716. It dipped because the writing was just not there. And so it's this whole build him up, or her up, build the villain up, and then throw him next season. And it tends to work. This is my view, it works. And I think it's something that super shows seem to be following to do more of. So, yeah. Thank you for watching the video. Have a good day. Have a good night. Stay safe. And I'll see you in the next video. Bye, guys.